everybody, this is Charles again with another movie review. And today is Halloween. So happy Halloween, trick or treat, dress up, party, have fun, but stay safe because you want to be safe while you're having fun. Because I've been meaning to review one of my favorite movies to watch on Halloween, Trick or Treat. And in my opinion, it's not only one of the best movies to watch on Halloween, it's also one of the best horror movies in general, in my opinion. So, let's begin. So, this type of movie, it's a horror anthology movie, meaning there's different stories and characters, but they're not completely random or different. They're actually all connected into a singular timeline. They're like pieces you have to put together. And there's a lot of recurring characters that you'll see in this story or that story. Especially the main protagonist and the main villain, Sam. His name Sam came from the first three letters of Samhain, the ancient Celtic holiday that inspired Halloween. And with all these stories, there's all kinds of crazy things, like there's Principal Wilkins, who at first you would think he looks like a nice and friendly guy, but at night he's a serial killer. And he's also dresses up as a vampire who sucks people's blood and kills them with fake teeth and a mask. There's Mr. Kreeg, who's basically the Scrooge of Halloween. There's Macy, the little snobby girl. And there's Laurie, who looks like an innocent girl who's wanting to lose her virginity. And I'll tell you each about these stories. With Principal Wilkins, like I said, he looks like a nice and friendly guy, but it turns out he's a serial killer. Like, he offered a piece of candy to obese child named Charlie, but it was laced with cyanide. He started to throw up chocolate and blood. He tried to bury his body. Then there's the story with the trick-or-treaters, like Macy, where she and her group of friends try to get pumpkins to gather at a rock quarry. She even invited Rhonda, who is mentally disabled, and they even called her Rhonda the retard in the movie. They gathered the pumpkins because of a legend about kids who were killed in a bus accident by an unnamed bus driver. And, well, they also pulled an awful prank at Rhonda, that they were zombies that just rose from the ground and they scared the crap out of her, and she was scared out of her mind. But the twist is that the zombies of the dead kids, the real ones, they even rose up from the dead and started attacking the kids. Rhonda was able to escape. Macy and the other kids, they were begging for help, but because of the horrible prank, she didn't, and the other kids, they were killed, eaten, and dismembered off camera, but you could hear them screaming, and it's just awful. And then there's the story with Laurie and her older sister Danielle, and a bunch of other horny young adult females. And she was looking to lose her virginity, Laurie, and she was stalked by the masked vampire who was Principal Wilkins in the costume. She was able to capture Wilkins, unmask him, revealing that it's Wilkins. And then there's a big twist in that story that they're actually werewolves. And if you think about it, and if you actually watch the movie, there's plenty hints of foreshadowing, like Danielle referred to her as the runt of the litter, or Laurie wearing a Little Red Riding Hood costume, which is meant to be ironic. And then the final story is with Mr. Kreeg, who's a grumpy jerk who and a grumpy old man who doesn't care about Halloween. He even scares kids with his dog dressed up in a costume. But Sam paid Mr. Kreeg a visit and then started to attack him, and it was one of the most brutal fights. Mr. Kreeg even tried to shoot him with a shotgun, but Sam has regenerative abilities because he's a spirit, so he can't die. He's immortal. And then when he was unmasked, it was really freaky as hell. His face looked like a cross between a skull and a pumpkin. As Sam was about to kill Mr. Kreeg with the final blow, Mr. Kreeg was flinching and he unintentionally gave him a piece of candy. And then Sam wanted the candy and then he took it from him and left. Because Sam, with a character like Sam, he's meant to be the mascot and spirit of Halloween, the same way how Santa Claus is to Christmas, or the Easter Bunny is to Easter, or Cupid to Valentine's Day. And Sam, his job is to enforce the traditions and laws of Halloween. And at the very end, Mr. Kreeg learned to pass out candy to kids. But another great twist, in this movie, the zombie kids came back to attack Mr. Kreeg because Mr. Kreeg was the bus driver that caused the bus accident for the kids to die in the water, and somehow Mr. Kreeg survived. So overall, I really enjoyed this movie. There's a lot of good things about it. I could say it's great, but is it perfect? No. But then again, there's no such thing as a perfect movie. There are flaws, but I really enjoyed this movie, and I really recommend this to any horror fan or any Halloween fan because it is such a great story. So this has been it for my review. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a happy Halloween.